Hi everyone! If you have difficulties with stylizing portraits, then this video is for you. I will tell you how I draw such portraits and what I pay my attention to. Well, let's get started. The first thing you should pay attention to is the shape of a head and a face. The girl's face is most like a circle and her facial features are soft and rounded. Having decided on the basic shapes, it becomes easier to work with the portrait. When a person has soft facial features, she or he seems more friendly and sweet to us. Most often, when depicting children and teenagers, rounded shapes are used to emphasize their childishness and childish charm. On my channel, there is a video about different face shapes where I explained in more detail how to identify and draw them. In this portrait, I draw large round eyes, but I want to warn you that big eyes don't always look cute. Sometimes, on the contrary, they spoil the image and look scary. They also often draw a combo of big eyes and a small nose. If this is a part of your style, then I would recommend keeping a distance between eyes. Now we have just come to the next point, proportions. That is the ratio of each part of the face in relation to each other and their size. Today we are considering the option of a stylized portrait, and in it I would say that there are no strict rules for maintaining proportions. It is important to create a harmonious drawing and of course place part of the face on vertical and horizontal axes based on basic knowledge of facial proportions. To make the portrait look more interesting, I draw the upper lip larger than the lower lip. Most often in life this is exactly what happens, one lip is larger than the other, top or bottom, it's different for everyone. I made the upper lip much larger, but I'm drawing stylization. Now I don't have a goal to draw a similar girl, but if it was in order for a stylized portrait of a specific girl, I would work more with the proportion of the face, the shape of the eyes, nose, ears, and only slightly increase or decrease them. I decided to add a little tone and move on to the next portrait. The next step in styling is accent. In a portrait, there are general shapes of the head, face, hair, which form the overall mass. There are average forms: ears, eyes, eyebrows, nose, lips, and there are small details such as freckles, moles, eyelashes. But it is also important to find an accent in the middle forms. This is what stands out most strongly in the facial features and attracts attention. In this reference, you could choose ears, nose, thick eyebrows, and irises for emphasis. I chose the nose. I wanted to focus attention on it by increasing its length and direct direction, the thickness of the lines. Why did I choose only the nose? Let's imagine that I drew a long nose, huge eyes, elongated ears, wide eyebrows. It seems to me that this would create an imbalance in the portrait of this girl. The harmony would be distracted and there would be too many accents. The viewer's gaze would not be able to linger on one thing and would constantly switch from one to another. It's a little tiring, annoying, and I want to quickly remove this irritant and stop looking at it. The artist's task is to catch the eye with something, and then the person will gradually move his gaze throughout the entire drawing and see how wonderfully everything else is drawn. This may sound boring, but this method helps me style the head. I think that not everyone will agree with me on this issue. You can freely write your opinion in the comments. I also focused attention on the middle part of the face by contrasting the tone and adding details in the form of freckles. There are several techniques for drawing environments, characters, and objects, but the main technique that is suitable for all types of drawings is the decomposition of the drawing into the base, nuances, and emphasis. This is what I talked about earlier. If you understand this principle, it will be much easier to draw anything. Therefore, I really recommend reading about it and figuring out what techniques you can use to highlight something and what methods to divert attention. Each person has his own unique character, his own life story, and this is reflected in his facial features. If you don't have a description of the character's personality, you can come up with whatever you want. This is my next tip in styling, a reflection of a person's character. Thanks to this, we can again influence the viewer's attitude towards the hero. Often kind characters have rounded facial features, soft shapes, while evil ones, in contrast, have a triangular face shape and angular, sharp features. In this portrait of a man, I chose a bright side. I imagined that he is a sweet, kind-hearted, slightly insecure athlete. He loves sports, but also reads books. He loves taking care of animals. So I mostly use soft lines, but to give him some masculinity, I drew a defined jaw and cheekbone angle, white eyebrows, and a huge neck. In contrast to the good hero, I decided to draw a negative character to show you the differences in drawing shapes and lines for different people's personalities. In stylizing this portrait, I use the following technique: facial expression. Portraying emotions can further help reveal a character's character. I think you can easily distinguish a kind smile from smirk, and also with this look. A person's facial expressions help us create a first impression of a person and understand his character. By depicting emotions, we can enhance the impression of a person. Even on the reference, you can see this guy's sly look, which already gives him a negative connotation. And I didn't portray the good intentions of the character. The tilt of the head also plays an important role due to this. A sideways glance is updated that is directed at the viewer, and there is also a slight grin. The character has sharp facial features, a triangular face shape, a long pointed nose, and defined cheekbones. Most often, negative characters are portrayed as thin, but of course, there are exceptions. I would say that this is the easiest way to convey the evil character of the person. Tonally, I didn't work much on this portrait like the others, but an important nuance is the shadow in the eyes. When the light is directed from above and the shadows are directed downward, this technique increases the anxiety in the scene and shows some kind of danger. In the last portrait, I took into account all the advice that I voiced earlier. I think that many points were known to you, some you may have heard for the first time. In any case, I hope that this video was useful for you, that you have immersed yourself a little more in the world of stylizing, and perhaps you will put into practice the tips that I shared with you. Thanks for watching, liking and subscribing. I say goodbye to you until the next video, and you will watch this video to the end. I was very fascinated by the process of drawing this character.